Welcome to our series, Dyin,
Cryin
and Lyin on Two Luckies,
the podcast. This is a series where we rewatch Little House on the Prairie, a show that we loved when we were kids, and we give our perspective on it as adults.
As adults, and I must say, watching it as an adult has been very different.
It's been extremely different, and we found out that their plots tend to have three main categories. They are either dying,
They're crying,
or they are lying.
Lying.
And we figured out that they have 2 out of the 3 categories every episode. So if you want to know what it's like to sit in the car with us and have us tell you a story with categories, you're about to find out. So buckle up. Here we go. For Two Luckies, the podcast presents Dyin,
Cryin,
and Lyin.
Season 2, Episode 11, The Gift.
It's Sunday morning in town, and all the school children are assembled under a tree nearby to where the school/church is. And the
graveyard.
And the graveyard. There's actually a little, there's a few graves over there, I think. And they're all sitting there collecting money. And I thought, even the kids have a collection plate? Like, my gosh.
They leave no stone unturned.
They leave no stone unturned. So we find out that Mary is the treasurer, and they're saving up money to buy a gift for Reverend Alden, whose birthday is in 5 weeks. And then we have Willie and Nellie over there sitting there saying, we're going to buy a gift that, we can get our own gift like we do every year for him. And they even try to give advice on what to buy. But Laura says, rightfully, I think, you can't decide because you're not participating with what, you're not helping us out. Why
Right,
can't
you
you
didn't
just
give anything.
Right, you didn't give anything to this cause. So how do you get a say? But it's determined that they're going to buy him a new Bible because the Bible that Reverend Alden has, the cover is falling off of it. And now they had, $1.56 before this collection that they just had now, which was just a bunch of pennies here and there. And Mary is in charge of buying the Bible and ordering the Bible and then being able to present the Bible.
Right, it all falls on her shoulders.
And they've all been sworn to secrecy.
So right away, a preamble to a little
Lyin.
So it's after Sunday school now in church, and we're following the dream team jingling home with Chaz, Ma, and we got Mary and Laura in the back, and they want to know what they learned in Sunday school. And Laura whips around with the new Bible. What new Bible? And Mary, she means the New Testament, and we're going to call that Lyin. She was asked to keep a secret, and right away she's trying to blab.
She's spilling the beans.
So then it gets really interesting because we pan over to the Olson's Mercantile where we got Nellie and Willie raiding the candy dish already, and the usual Nels, get away from that dish.
He's always telling them to get away from it.
So they're talking to Mrs. Olson about what to get the Reverend for his birthday, and what does Nellie come up with? Hey, we want to pick out a new Bible for him,
because it'll be a gift that no one would think about, and we know that's a Lyin.
My God! Wow! Wow! That's messed up.
It is. And she picked a $12 Bible, which back then, $12 was a considerable amount of money. It was marked down to $3, and it's got Holy Bible stamped in gold on the front and the back, and for an extra 50 cents, they can get his name embossed on it.
And it was Nels that brought up the point. Why can't you guys participate with the other children just for once? Why do we always have to give a special gift? And, Mrs. Olson, Nels, that's not funny.
Well, and even Nellie was like, because they're going to pick something stupid. They're going to pick something silly. Meanwhile, you picked what they chose at Sunday school.
To me, that was pretty rotten.
Yeah, but that's what she likes to be that way. We're up in the loft of the little house, and Mary and Laura are trying to get ready for bed, and Laura is looking through a catalog, because they used to be able to order things through mail order catalogs back then.
I thought they were going to be going through the Olsons, but I guess not.
No, I mean, maybe they're going to bypass the Olsons. I'm not really sure, because usually they order everything through the Olsons, who seem to be using the same catalog. Because we find out that there's a Bible for $1, but it's not very fancy. Then there's one for $1.50, and then because they have $1.67 in the treasury,
Right.
which Mary is in charge of. And then, of course, Laura has to keep leafing through the pages, and she finds the Bible that Nellie wanted to buy, that they're going to order. I mean, because Mrs. Olson approved it. So they're going to be ordering this fancy Bible that's marked down from $12 to $3 for some reason. And she comes up with this scheme because, of course, she can't just be, she can't just go with whatever Mary says. She's got to go do something else on her own. And she finds these homeopathic remedy bottles it's 12 bottles that cure all kinds of things. And her plan is to buy these 12 bottles
For $1.50.
For $1.50. This is Laura's plan. And she's trying to convince Mary to use the Sunday school money that they've collected to buy these 12 bottles. And they sell them for 25 cents. And that'll give them $3. So that they will now be able to buy the fancier Bible with all of the gold leaf writing and all this other stuff. And Mary is very set against it and says, we are spending that money on his gift and that's it. But we'll find out what happens because we know whenever Mary tries to keep to the rules and do something, Laura is always trying to get around her. And usually she gets her way. And that's how they make this show.
It seems like the writers have geared up to hit our categories on this one. Morning time at the Ingalls, and everybody's sitting around the
Carrie's
table.
in a chair.
Yay, Carrie!
Yay! She's out of the high chair.
But Pa's kind of going on and telling stories about first how Mr. Edwards is going to grow 5 acres worth of watermelons.
Watermelons. Because he hasn't had a decent watermelon since he moved to Minnesota.
And they all think that's kind of kooky, but Laura's like, I'd eat 2 of them myself. So there, he's a success. And Laura starts kind of poking and prodding at Pa about, their time coming across the prairie. And sometimes you just got to have faith and take a chance, right? And they always keep panning back to Mary sitting there with that sullen look.
Well, every time Laura said, right, Pa, she's looking at Mary because she's trying to convince her to do this whole scheme she's come up with.
So we got Pa once again giving poor advice without even realizing it, and still in the season 1 shirt.
He's in that shirt.
But he gets up, he's got to head off to work, which is apparently never on the farm, but
No, it's
whatever.
always someplace else.
More to that later. But then you got Laura and Mary, looks like they're heading into school, and she's still trying to convince Mary, Laura is, about buying these homeopathic remedies. And Mary, who just the night before said, we're getting his gift and that's final, all of a sudden she grabs the catalog. I need to fill out the order form, and I don't know how to spell homeopathic. So, oh boy, this is going to be quite interesting.
Yes, it is. Well, they show us a train that is spewing out this black smoke that I thought, oh my gosh, like global warming much? I mean, it was bad. And then they show inside and there's the package. So now the girls, Laura and Mary, are underneath the tree and they're opening up the package and they're looking at all of these 12 glass bottles that I was thinking, there is no anything to cushion these things
Right.
at all. It's amazing they even made it. And they're in a wooden box. And Laura has stars in her eyes. She's got all these ideas of how they're going to sell this stuff. And that there's a loose board up in the loft of the
hay loft in the
barn. And that they're going to hide it up there. And nobody will ever find it over there. And then Saturday morning, they wake up early. They've already eaten and done their chores before Pa's even done milking that cow. And he's like, wait a minute, what are you doing? Like, I mean, they ran out there and they go upstairs and now they find the box and they're scheming on how they're going to do this. And of course, Laura says, this familiar trope, let's split up. We can cover more distance then. And they are going to try to sell these remedies. And then Laura is already planning for future purchases, when they were going to use all the money that they were planning on making from this. Where were they going to get another $1.50 back then? When our last episode that we watched, they were fighting over a nickel in the schoolyard.
The math didn't really add up anyway, because she asked Mary how much they would get if they actually sold all of these bottles, and she said $3. Wasn't that Bible like $3.50?
It was $3.50 if you had his name stamped on it, but it was $3 without. But either way, you would need shipping. So, I mean,
Right.
I really don't feel that they're just going to...
And even if that added up, like you said, they wouldn't have any money to order any more of this. But man, are they weaving a web of
lying.
So Mary's the first one we pan in on. She's going around and she ends up at Mrs. Foster's farm. Sees her come outside after she gets water tossed at her because she didn't see Mary standing there.
And she had to jump back.
But she lets her know, hey, we're selling these homeopathic remedies. And oh, that's nice. If I need some, then I know where to find them. But you can get them now. Well, I don't need them now.
Right, she's like, but I'll remember you. Thanks for letting me know.
She strikes out. And then we go to Laura, who's at some other farm. And boy, not only is she striking out, but she leaves a bottle sitting on a fence where this little kid picks it up and dumps this whole bottle of pills into the pig pen. Pigs eat all of this stuff, and now this lady who she was talking to is really angry because if anything happens to those pigs, and then Laura tries to get payment from her.
And she's like, the
25
pigs
cents.
ate them.
It's like, well, if you can get the money from the pigs, get it, since they ate them. So now they're already in the hole.
Yeah, I mean, they're already in hole for the cost of it, and there's no, where are they going to get 25 cents back then?
This was a bad idea.
It was a bad idea from the beginning, and I'm really surprised that Mary even went for this. Well, at the end of the day, a very dejected Laura climbs up that ladder and finds Mary already up in the loft with the hay, and oh my goodness, they start bickering back and forth, and Laura has to explain that she now has lost a bottle's worth of pills because the pigs ate it, and the lady was really mad, and she's worried that the pigs are going to get sick, and now Mary starts yelling at her, you convinced me, and they go back and forth, and then we see a team of horses coming in onto the Ingalls farm.
I thought initially it was the dream team.
We actually thought it was
wasn't.
Charles at first, but it was this guy who looked like he'd been on the road for a while, and he gave this whole story about he sells Indian medicine beads for 25 cents, and he's trying to convince Ma to buy that, and she's like, no. And then he says he hasn't eaten for 2 days. He gives this whole story about it and how he left his provisions for his children and that he can't, he's got to leave now because he has to find somebody to buy his Indian medicine beads. And she offers to give him food. He's still trying to get the money.
Right.
But she says, well, we have plenty of food. And she gives him in there. And he's like, oh, you're far too generous. And I thought, you are kind of really generous and kind of trusting with this guy. But I'm getting the feeling that Laura is going to be having an idea.
Oh, yeah, because I got a feeling that this guy's whole speech is a bunch of lying. I don't believe what he says.
No, we don't believe it. And we know this is Dyin, Cryin and Lyin, and they got to give us the lion.
Now, here comes the actual dream team jingling up to the Ingalls farm just as that other guy in his wagon is pulling away up the road. Chaz gets into the house and asks about what's going on.
He knew the guy's name also.
Yeah, he knew the guy's name. Doesn't really matter. But we find out that Ma gave this guy food in exchange for him giving these little the beaded necklace or whatever. Well, no,
first she says, oh, Ma got paid 25 cents, Laura says. And he goes, actual money? Which, no, it wasn't. It was in trade. No, it wasn't
actual money. And then Chaz informs them that the guy's a shuckster. He doesn't have a family. And Edwards, I think, just gave him shoes in the morning. It's like he just got taken in by the world's greatest salesman, which in reality is saying he's the world's greatest liar.
So, I mean, really, though, telling your kids that the world's greatest salesman is somebody who just lies to everybody is really I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah, it's not exactly the best thing. But, of course, during this whole exchange, there's Laura and Mary standing there, and Laura's got this wicked grin on.
And it looked like even Mary had the light bulb moment.
I think we know where this is going.
Yep. Mary and Laura are on the way to school, and they brought these remedies with them. Mary's telling Laura not to break the bottles. I mean, these are glass bottles that they have just laying in their pockets here.
I think the glass back then must have been much thicker.
Much thicker. I mean, it's like Pa's shirt. It's indestructible at this point, according to this thing. So she says, don't break the bottles, while you're playing at recess. And Laura has the great idea that maybe I'll try to sell a couple before school. And they're coming across a lot of people that don't know them, which I find this is another one of those things they do that's just unusual because everybody knows everybody in small towns. So especially in this one, because everybody comes into church. So she sees this older lady who's hauling up a big pail of water, and Laura starts lying about how her father has the rheumatism and she's selling these homeopathic remedies and she's got a little bottle that says rheumatism, and she meets another shuckster because this woman is going, oh, put away money for when you're old. There's only me. It's going to take me a year to come up with 25 cents to replace it. And she's trying to get this bottle away from Laura, and Laura tries to take it back from her and leave. And then the old lady says, bless you. And Laura gives her the bottle for free. So now they have lost 50 cents of profit because now they lost the pills to the pig. And they have now lost, this lady saw the alcohol content thing on the bottle above the label. And the minute Laura wasn't even out of sight yet, she had the cork out of the bottle and she was tipping that thing back. And then she picked up this pail of water like it weighed 2 ounces when Laura was over there struggling with this big pail of water.
So Laura's
lying
was met by this old lady shucksters.
Lying. And now they are down more money than they bought. How are they even going to come up with all this money? It took these kids weeks to come up with this much money, and now they've already lost 50 cents of potential profit, and they are in trouble.
We're in the schoolyard now, and Laura is trying to tell Mary how she gave her that bottle, and Mary is pissed.
She's yelling at her.
Oh my goodness, is she pissed? Just tells her, all I see is you getting us deeper and deeper into trouble.
But she is.
And then we have Nellie and Willie come running up, and Laura decides she's going to bail out and hide in the outhouse while they come up and ask Mary, did you order the present? And Mary was lying. She lied about ordering the present. She lied about it being a surprise. She was just lying through her teeth.
Yeah.
So after they walk away, then she has to wait for Laura.
Because Laura was peeking.
Her, yeah, you can come out now. That's fine you to go run and hide while you leave me out here doing all the lying. Even she knew what the episode was.
Thank you, writers. You know, even the characters know.
And then, they pan to Laura, who's just kind of kicking around in the dirt, and she kicks up this old sack, and it kind of reminded me of that episode, what was it, The Award, where Mary just kept digging a deeper and deeper hole, this one lie after the other. Yep. It looks like it's Laura's turn now.
Well, she's got an idea, and one thing that was interesting about this scene was that Willie invited Mary to play jump rope with them, and I'm like, really?
They never do that.
No, I guess they kind of play in the schoolyard together, but either way, Mary wasn't going to be able to do that anyway because she's got all these glass bottles in her pocket. That's why I was thinking she couldn't even play with them if she wanted to because she'd be smashing all these bottles, although maybe these bottles are indestructible, like you said. After school, Laura runs off with that sack. She had stowed it underneath the front stairs of the school, and Mary didn't even have a chance to talk to her. She's like, wait up, and then Laura was off like a shot.
She was gone.
Oh my goodness. And then poor Miss Beadle, the teacher, gets a grilling by Mary. About her health. Do you have this thing? Do you have that thing? No, I feel great. Do you have this thing? Do you have that thing? No, 4 times she interrupted her and telling her all these ailments and said, well, if you start feeling poorly, Mary says, could you let me know? And Miss Beadle's looking at her like, what is the matter with you?
She looked really annoyed.
Oh my goodness, we get to the granddaddy of a situation here. Laura shows up wearing that sack. Her hair is all loose. She's got dirt rubbed on the sack actually looked cleaner than she did. She's got her hair is all mussed up. She's got dirt on her face, on her hand. She's barefoot. And she comes up to this farm and she knocks on the door and she sits down quick on some kind of a bench that was outside and she spins a yarn of lying, saying that her mother was dying and her father was sick and her 2 baby sisters were dying of starvation and that she's selling these remedies and then find out that this lady knows her mother just saw Ma in town that day and said she looked just fine and how shameful it is that she's been doing all this lying. And even if I was sick, I wouldn't be buying these things from you. And she could not believe it, and now she thinks Ma is a terrible mother because Laura came in doing all this thing. Oh my gosh. But she really went for it. She went for it.
Yeah, that was something else. I can only imagine the beating she's going to catch.
Well, you know what, though? It seems like whenever they do this stuff, they don't really have many repercussions for it for some reason. They're always very forgiving.
Yeah, let's see if that works out here.
Well, I haven't seen them take a switch to them yet.
We're at the Ingalls barn now. Mary's walking in with a big pail of water, and she's bringing it up that ladder, and Laura's up there in the hayloft. She's got to wash herself off before she goes
I'm
into the house.
surprised she got in there without anybody noticing. She's filthy.
So not only did she weave this whole web of lying, but they're out of time. Even if they did manage to sell every bottle, which they can't because they don't even have them, they wouldn't have enough time to get a Bible there. So what do they come up with? And this is Mary of all things. Maybe we can get sick.
So they're
Because if I have
planning.
to go to church that Sunday, I'd rather be dying than do that. They know the categories.
Yeah, so they were planning on future lying.
And then we switch over to Mary, who we've never seen with Laura before at the fishing hole, only it's Laura that's fishing,
It's
not
usually
Mary.
Laura and a bunch of other people, or just
And
Laura
we
by
find
herself.
out it's the day before, so it's that Saturday before the Sunday they're supposed to be in church giving this present. And Mary seems like she's trying to come to her senses. She's going to tell Pa, and, and they're kind of arguing a little bit about it because, well, Mary's supposed to be the oldest, but it was Laura's idea. So then they come up with, well, we're going to tell them together. And then what was it, Laura? I never felt like not fishing before.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, she didn't even want to fish because she was trying to distract herself from the fact that tomorrow was Reverend Alden's birthday and the day that they were supposed to be presenting this Bible.
So I want to know if this is the episode where the switch comes out.
I doubt it. We're spending a lot of time in this barn. We're back in the Ingalls barn, and Pa's up there in some other part of the loft. And Ma comes in, and she even mentioned it. Mary went fishing because she was
Not
asking.
Mary.
She was asking where the girls were. Mary went fishing, so even Ma was surprised. So we're right with you, Ma. We were surprised. Well, here she goes. She wanted the girls to pick berries because she wanted to make a pie for the Reverend's birthday for the next day. And he almost launched himself down that ladder because he found a way to get out of this barn. And he was like, how about this? I'll make you a deal. You make 2 pies, I'll pick the berries. And then he goes over and gets his fishing pole. And she was like,
What
you
are you
need your
gonna do?
fishing pole to
Catch
get
'em?
berries? So he went over and found the girls. He thought he would get some fishing in before he got those berries, which I really think he was just going to try to convince the girls to get the berries anyway. And now they're stiff as a board, like, oh my gosh, do we tell him now? Do we tell him now? And Mary tried to fess up to it. She really did. And then she said, oh, well, we thought we'd pick the berries for the pie. So now he already got what he wanted. He got to do some fishing. He got
Yep.
out of picking the berries, and they got out of telling Pa because they are hoping for a miracle.
Well, it's Sunday morning, and we know it's Sunday morning because Chaz is outside and he's got the Christmas shirt
He's
on.
got that Christmas shirt from season 1 that either Mary or Ma made, and I think she just rotates them through the laundry.
Yep, and we find out what the girls' plans actually are. They're playing the old sick card.
Yep, so they're up there lying.
Oh boy, were they lying. And then when they finally have to fess up, Mary starts
Crying.
And Chaz was not looking the least bit.
Oh my gosh. Well, they tried to say they had laryngitis, or something like that. And he automatically knew. He was like, it's pronounced laryngitis, and it means you can't talk. So they picked the worst illness out of the whole bottle.
So Pa was not having any of that except to tell them, get ready for church. You're going to have to fess up to what you did. I'll be waiting for you downstairs. And oh boy, what a bang zinger.
Yeah, but I mean, honestly, they're not going to really get in that much trouble, but he is planning on making them show up to church whether they want to go or not.
And I wonder if that whole incident that Laura did earlier with that lady when she was wearing the sack is going to come back and bite them on this day.
How have they not heard anything? Like, I want to say that people would talk to each other, especially if they saw Ma in town, that the next time they were in town, if they saw her, somebody would have said something, but I guess maybe she just didn't go in.
I said this in the last episode, and I'm going to say it again. Oh, what a web we weave.
Yep, they've been weaving them. Well, the Ingalls are early for church, and Reverend Alden is happily getting the schoolhouse ready by pulling those green curtains over the chalkboard to make it into the church, because that building works for both of those things. And Laura and Mary are brought in there by Pa, and he says, you got to go do this. So they have the box full of all the remedies.
Right.
Yes. So they have the box full of all the remedies, and they are instructed to go up there, and they have to fess up to Reverend Alden, and he's going to wait outside with Ma and Carrie's getting taken out of the wagon, and she's standing there with Ma outside. And the girls are up there, and they fess up to the whole thing, and that they had spent the money, and they apologize. And he said, did you learn anything from this? And they were like, yes, sir, we'll never do this again. And then we pan over to the Olsons Mercantile, and for some reason, they're showing Nels for the first. Nels gets all the deliveries in. They're showing Nels the Bible that they got, and how it has Reverend Alden's name stamped on it. And, it's, Nellie says, it's going to be the best present because it's the most expensive. And Nels is not happy about all this. He doesn't feel that the Lord hears prayers better when things are inexpensive.
He knows Harriet's stuck up.
Well, and now they're almost late for church, it looks like, and they haven't even wrapped the Bible, but we know they did that for our benefit because this is Dyin, Cryin and Lyin, and we needed a little something here to give us a little get going, but they are just wrapping the present, and everybody is filing into church.
You know what I found the most interesting about that whole exchange? Is when the girls are telling Reverend Alden about what they did, he looked more pissed off than Chaz did.
He really did. And he was like, that money was in your care and you spent it on this. And they were trying to explain back and forth, and they were trying to take the blame, each one of them, that they were trying to get him a better Bible.
So church is just starting. The Reverend stands up and tells a story about...
a man who was poor, and he tried to do all the stuff to get money, and everything failed.
He's basically taking the story of what happened with the girls in the Sunday school and turning it into some kind of a fable that he could... relate
used
to
give information. Yeah.
And the funny thing is, he says about how everybody tries to give him a new Bible because he's a reverend, but the one he holds up, the cover is worn, the pages are yellow, but he tells everybody his father gave him that Bible, and he really cherished that one more than any others. And while he's telling this story, first we see the Olsons take that present they were about to bring up to him. Now all of a sudden they're trying to hide it and tuck the thing away. It ends up in Nels' coat pocket.
After it went around to Nellie had given it to Mrs. Olson, had given it around the corner to Willie, and then Willie gave it to Nels, and then he stuffed it in his jacket while Doc Baker's looking at them like, what is this? Because they're hiding this present.
I think Doc Baker was sleeping.
He looked like he was looking at quizzically about what they were doing.
But anyway, when they pan over and show the Ingalls girls, they're slouching down in their seats.
They look like they wanted the ground to swallow them up.
But then we find out that he says that he got the greatest gift of all, and he holds up this box that the medicines were in and says, how did the children know that I wanted a case for my father's Bible?
Yeah, so he made it out like they had given him something great.
So in all of that storytelling, it turns out that he was able to avoid disaster. The girls avoided disaster. The Olsons looked like their typical selfish selves, and they even avoided that too because they never ended up giving the gift. And once again, all is right with the world. But boy, I tell you, it sure looked like Laura was on that path that Mary was on in that episode, The Award. They were just digging their way right to the center of the earth.
They were digging their way, and I was thinking this case had 2 shelves in it to hold all the bottles in there. So I was thinking, wow, he's going to have to take out those shelves to make this a case for his Bible.
I bet she brings it to Chaz and has him do it since he's supposed to be a carpenter.
Well, that's true. And, it was kind of nice of him to do that because he said it was what they had endured in order to give the gift that was more important. It was the love that they showed that was more important. So they really did try to put a positive spin on it for us. But even in the story that Reverend Alden talked about, the man he was talking about was weeping, and that man was crying. So they knew it all the way through. We had a whole bunch of lying. We had crying, and we had a lot of talk of dying because even Laura had made up a story about my mother died.
my mother
to this
died.
lady that she, I mean, how did she think she was going to get away with this? Like, you know, these people, if this woman knows your mother, like, come on now.
She's a kid. She's not thinking about that.
They
like,
weren't thinking
people
at all.
know my family.
I mean, my gosh. So, I mean, you really had to suspend disbelief in this thing for them to even try to get through this. It was really kind of an implausible thing.
But they pulled out our categories.
Yes, they did. Because
So-
this is Dyin, Cryin, and Lyin.
So make sure you join us for the next episode, which is called His Father's Son.
Ooh.
And that concludes this episode on Dyin
Cryin.
and Lyin on Two Luckies.
Two Luckies,
The
podcast. We release these weekly, and there's a whole bunch of them out already, so go
whole
check them
bunch.
out.
We'll see you the next time.
We're out.
Two Luckies, the podcast.
Two Luckies, the podcast. Two Luckies, the podcast. Woohoo! You stayed!
You stayed! Woo!
So you deserve a fun fact. We do what we call the Carrie Report.
Yay, Carrie.
And the reason we started that is because my memory of this show, thinking back on it, was Carrie perpetually in a high chair.
Yes, always in the high chair.
Always in a high chair. And in season 1, they even made an extra high chair for her, and she already had a high chair. She was always in the high chair. And I thought it would be fun because I wanted to watch what she was doing or what they were doing with her, because her character was very young when this show started.
Yeah, and the other fun fact about that, in real life, that Carrie was actually a twin.
Yeah, so it's two girls, and you're not really sure which one. Like, did they have one twin that was talking? Sometimes they look like they had just woken them up for a nap. And we do know when they run down the hill in the beginning, it's the beginning.
In the
When they
beginning.
run down the hill at the beginning, the reason she fell down is because she had the wrong shoes on her feet, so she had just woken up from a nap, and they left it in there. And then the later episodes, they do a little like noise when she falls down. But in the beginning, she falls down this hill. And I just thought it was fun to watch, and I enjoy it. Whenever I see Carrie, I'm like, yay, it's the Carrie Report.
Yeah, never usually has a line, or if she does have a line, it's usually something mumbled. The thing I always noticed about Carrie, though, is she was always perpetually small.
She was
Throughout the
significantly
series.
younger. I mean, it really seemed like she aged slower
Yeah.
than everybody else. I don't know how they did
Could
that.
have just been an illusion, but...
Well, they could have just made it look that way by the way they were dressing her and stuff like that. But that's our fun fact.
So thanks for staying with us.
We appreciate you.